the exit pupil coming out of that scope's eyepiece. And that is the little circle of light you can see. If you hold the scope out like this, arm's length, and look in it in the eyepiece, you're going to see a little bright circle. That's the exit pupil. That's where all the light
recording the video
from. And that has to match up with your pupil. So if your eye is dilated to 7 millimeter and you have an 8 by 56 millimeter scope, 8 goes into 56, 7 millimeters, and that fits your pupil perfectly. So all of the light coming out of that little 7 millimeter exit pupil pours through your pupil, hits the retina in the back of your eye, and you've got maximum brightness. If that 7 millimeter exit pupil were 10 millimeters, you would have a rim around your 7 that would be wasted. You cannot take advantage of that extra bright light. It just bounces off your iris. If it's smaller, the exit pupil in the eyepiece of the scope is only 4 millimeters. You're pouring all of that light into your eye, but you've got an extra rim of pupil area that's been dilated to take in more light, and there's no light there to take in because the exit pupil isn't big enough. So it's nice to be able to match the two. And this is what you get when you divide the power into the diameter of the objective lens. So yes, objective lenses are bigger, they let more light in. Magnification makes it darker, lets less light out. So there's a couple of ways you can get a brighter scope. So the power down is the easiest. Go from 8 to 4 and holy mackerel, you know, you're going to like double the exit pupil diameter. But then you're going to have a smaller target. So if you're hunting at night and he's out there at 200, 250 yards, and it's just the last little speck of light to see, you're going to want what this gentleman cracked has got here in 8 by 56. But I think he's making an argument against what I said about main tube diameter. In that article of mine, I mentioned that the main tube diameter, whether it's 1 inch or 30 millimeter, or 34 millimeters, does not make the image visibly brighter. How can that be? Well, it's because there are erector lenses inside, and they're pretty small, and they're usually smaller than the biggest millimeter exit pupil that you might want. So you're really not losing any light there. If you get them big enough to transmit more light, you're still hampered by the objective diameter divided by the magnification. That does not change based on the diameter of that scope's main tube. The erector tube inside has got its lenses in it, and you're still going to get the same size exit pupil, objective lens divided by magnification. So that's why I say it really doesn't matter.
No,
if you've got a 30 millimeter main tube or a 1 inch diameter main tube,
and I don't
it's that objective in the eyepiece. So why is he thinking that his 30 millimeter or 34 millimeter tube, like, he's got a 30 millimeter? Why does he think that's so much brighter? Probably because he has the highest quality scope you can buy. It's a Euro scope, I'm imagining. It's probably a Zeiss or a Leica or a Swarovski or a Meopta. I mean, they just make super bright scopes, but it's not just because they've got a 30 millimeter tube. What makes scopes really, really bright are the treatments they put on the lenses. Anti-reflection coatings. Now, what's the significance
You better hang on or you're going to fall over.
Bare glass, optical glass,
rough road.
will
This is where you saw the
about
horses
4%
last night,
of the light that strikes it. And then another 4% gets lost when it comes out. This has to do with the way light bends and works when it goes through a thicker medium. Same thing as sticking an arrow in the water and you look at it's bent. You're bending the light because it slows down in that heavier material. It's weird stuff, light is. It's traveling at 186,000 miles per second. And when you go through glass, it slows down. And when it comes out of the glass, it speeds back up again to the same. Can you believe that? This is weird stuff, but this is what we're working with. At any rate, I'm getting off on a tangent here.
And I need to tell you, I need to go play,
is those anti-reflection coatings.
You have to go,
what they do is they knock that reflection loss back. They can cut it in half. A single layer of an anti-reflection
We're going to go down this steep hill right now.
Sulfate can reduce the light reflection loss.
We're going to end up at the bottom of this hill.
You put another layer on it, you cut it in half.
Look how far down it is.
And that's what they call multi-layered anti-reflection coatings for brightness. They increase the transmission of the light through the instrument. So a rifle scope is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 7, maybe 9 different lenses inside of it. And each one of those lenses is going to lose some light to reflection if you don't have the anti-reflection.
Hang on,
coatings.
okay? Both hands.
So there's a lot more going on in scope brightness than just the size of the objective. You've got to get those beautiful coatings, and I'm sure that 8x56 this gentleman is shooting has got all of the best of the
Okay,
best.
hang on to
And
this.
that's why it looks so bright, not because it has a 30 millimeter tube.
How
Now,
about if I
he's
hold
also
this here?
saying
Yeah.
that he's shooting at last light, not just last light, but I know in Europe, a lot of countries over there let you shoot at night, down by moonlight. So yeah,
can't
you
see?
want as bright a scope as you
You
can
want to
get.
stand up and look?
Most of us are not going to have our pupils dilate to 7 millimeters until it's dark. So in the States, sunset, half hour after sunset, maybe.
If
in
you
some
stand up,
places
you got to
it's
let
an
go of
hour
your
after.
blanket.
It's still fairly bright. So over here in the States, we really don't need that super.
You got to let go of
brightness
your
because we
blanket and
just
hang
don't
on to
hunt in
this.
those really dark conditions. What I suggest is that you test the scope under low light situations and see what you can see. What I have noticed with a lot of my scopes, if I've got good anti-reflection coatings on them, is that I can take a scope and say
okay,
8
hang
power
on.
with a 40 to 44 millimeter objective, which doesn't give you a huge edge of pupil, but it's got all those good anti-reflection coatings in it, and I target a rock up on the hill 100 yards away at, say, 11 o'clock at night under a full moon. I can see the rock and I can see my black crosshair on that rock. I probably could see it brighter if I had an 8x56, but it's more than enough for what I do, so I don't have
Yep.
to carry around that great big scope. And that's the other part of
Big
this.
rock.
An 8x56 is a huge scope, and you've got to lift your head off the stock most likely to see through it. So it's not what you
Are you
would
getting
call a
thrown
quick
around in the
setup.
seat?
If you're a hunter and you're glassing, stalking, still hunting, hiking, you got a heavy rifle with a heavy scope on it. It's not balanced very neatly. It's just not fun to carry. And then when you throw it up quickly, you probably can't find it. You got to lift your head and look through it. What this gentleman is likely doing
You
is
wanna
sitting
drive
on a
around and-
stand.
you wanna
a
drive back
Hochsitz.
up it now?
Over in Germany, Austria, most of these countries, they put blinds or stands up and they call them high seats.
Let's try and drive up it and see what
Even
we
if they're
do.
on the ground, they still call them Hochsitz. At any rate, that's a great place to use a big scope like that because you're not carrying it around.
We're gonna go
it's
uphill.
sitting there, probably supported on a beam across the stand someplace, and you've got time to pick your shots. So use what works for you. Nothing against a big scope like that if that's what you need to do your job, and apparently Cracked does, because he says he's got to have that scope in those low light situations, and it works well for him. More power to you, dude. All right, that's the situation on scopes.
Okay,
Now I'm
here we
going
go.
too long here. We're gonna have to ring off. So I want to thank you all for
We're going to see how
listening
this
in
thing climbs.
and watching. If you're looking on YouTube, thanks to our patrons for helping support the channel. That really helps, guys, and we really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you can. Look for us also on Ron Spomer Outdoors YouTube channel, where we cover ballistics and guns and shooting and a lot more detailed stuff. And check us out at ronspomeroutdoors.com for all those blogs on the website. Until next time, this is Ron Spomer signing off. Hunt honest and shoot straight.
Funny. That's funny. That was funny. That's funny, Papa.
Yeah?
Yo
Going right
guys,
up
welcome back. Well, welcome to my podcast. Today we are going to be discussing the 243 Winchester and 7mm 8 differences. So I've shot both of those cartridges, and
Wow.
I like them
We went
both.
right up it.
And I've shot
Can you stop for a minute?
both my deer with.
I have to get back
Oh,
in there.
Well, I shot
We're going
one
to turn
with
around now.